Hi and welcome to my channel. This is Christine Crowell here, and I want to talk about this video that's trending on YouTube. I'm hearing quite a few issues regarding this. It's trending on YouTube, and I wanted to talk to you from a coach's point of view, speaking with clients who are nurses and matrons, for example. And what I'm wanting to talk about is the videos that is saying that nurses are quitting, for example. There's one that's trending right now that says nurse quitted who's a band 8, for example. And I understand how you're feeling, and I understand that this can be very overwhelming to the point where you feel as if you're going to lose your mind if you continue to work in that environment. Look, I've been in that environment and I understand how it does affect you, which is the reason why I came out of it many years ago, and I'm talking about a long time ago, for example. And if I was you, for example, I would really be focusing on what can you do to stop this feeling. What can you do to make it right for you? Because you've gone into care, right? You've gone into care because you love to care for people. You're compassionate. You want to help people. You want to make the world a better place. But it all starts with you, making you better, making you feel wealth and health, because your health is your wealth. And it's important for you to make sure that you're happy in your job. And I know you want to serve your clients, your service users, your patients. I know you want to serve them, and I understand that because I've been there myself, for example. But you cannot serve when you're overflowing. You know, it's too much. You know, something will give. And this video today is where I'm talking to you about what you can do that can help you to cope, because not everyone can just leave just like that at a drop of a hat, because you've got commitments, you've got bills to pay, you don't want to threaten yourself in terms of, you know, being homeless, all of these things. There's a lot of hoops to jump when you are just suddenly leaving your job like that. So try, and if you can, unless it is urgent, try and think about how you can plan to leave your position. Now, I'm speaking with a few clients at the moment about how they can transition and leave the position that they're actually in, because they are feeling anxiety, they are feeling stressed, overwhelmed. When they go into work, it's like they get this massive sense of panic come over them that they just want to run away. They cry, they're upset, you know, before they go in, and then they go in there and they're like just trying to do their job. But there's also the toxic environment that they are facing with their peers, for example, treating them as if they feel that they are not valued. And this is wrong. It should not be happening. We should be supporting one another. So I'm going to talk to you today about the framework, and there's some steps that you can do to help you to cope whilst you plan your strategy properly. You've got to set clear boundaries. That's the first thing with your manager. I know this is like a big mountain that you're thinking, I'm scared to approach them, they're going to get funny with me, they're going to treat me terribly. And yes, some of them are like that. I'm not going to lie to you. They are like that when you do approach them and tell them about how they're making you feel right now, that they're affecting the workflow that you're giving. It's causing you to feel upset, for example. But you've got to set boundaries. You've got to let them know that you need to have your breaks at your break times allocated. You also are going to take some micro breaks as well on top of your breaks to help you to cope. When you are feeling this anxiety and this panic attack come over you, you need to be able to just boom, go straight away. unless you're right in the middle of something urgent, for example. But explain this to your manager. You've got to sit down and take back your time, take back your space whilst you're in the workplace, and so that you're in control, and you will feel a lot better for it. Now, I know what it feels like. I remember that the head nurse, for example, I was going for, well, she didn't even tell me when I could take my break, and I thought, it's 3 o'clock, I haven't even had a break yet. So I had to go off and take my break, and she said, where do you think you're going? I said to her, I'm taking my break just like you. And I just carried on walking. I had to do that because I hadn't had anything to eat, I hadn't had anything to drink, and it was like 3 o'clock in the day, and I'd been on since 7:30, for example, in the morning. And like I said, you've got to set clear boundaries. It's time for you to speak up. If they tell you to do something extra that is not in your remit, that you've been asked to do, say no. Let someone else do it. Let someone else take it. Say no, I'm dealing with this, and this is my boundary here, and I'm going to stick to it. That's going to put pressure on me. So I'm going to say no. It's okay to say no. The next thing is take regular breaks, but make sure that you're doing micro breaks. That means if you're feeling overwhelmed at any point, you're feeling overstretched, stressed, for example, then you need to go out and take some fresh air. Take a deep breath. Just keep doing that to calm yourself down. You can do this outside, you can do it in the bathroom, for example, but get out and take that micro break. Then what you need to do is you need to evaluate your next steps. But you've got to plan. You've got to plan leaving, okay? You've got to think about, what can I do to get out of here and go into another job? Or maybe you want to set up a business. It's entirely up to you, because, you know, I help nurses set up a business as well. I have been a coach now for 15 years. I've been in the healthcare sector for 35 years, for example. So you may want to plan getting another job, or plan setting up your business, for example. So that's what you need to do. You need to plan how you're going to leave. You can say, right, okay, I'm going to leave in 6 weeks' time. I don't know how long your notice period needs to be, but give your notice in, but you're planning to leave to another job, for example, because if it's a toxic environment, get out while you can. You know, don't stay in it. You got that choice. It's your choice to stay in that job, or it's your choice to plan to leave that job. But you want to plan it properly. You want to be able to give notice, but you also want to have something to walk into that's going to keep that cash flow coming in, for example. So plan wisely. Now, I talk to my client all the time, and we are planning a strategy for them so that they can leave their workplace. Listen, they're at the point where they just can't cope, they're struggling. So we're putting in some mechanisms in place to help them to cope with this stress and this anxiety and this feeling like they're not valued, feeling like they are losing their mind. You know, I understand how you feel, and I don't want us to keep going through this cycle. I'm seeing it. We're putting up with things, and we don't need to put up with it. We got to sit down and speak with the manager. But if you feel that you can't do that, then I respect you for that. Then you've got to look at planning how you're going to leave. But do it in a rational way, not on emotion. Because if you make a decision on emotion, then that can cause even greater problems for you as well. So you've got to get some mechanisms in place where you're going to plan, how you're going to leave, but how you're going to cope with when the situation becomes overwhelming in the workplace. What coping mechanisms do you have in place? What frameworks do you have in place for you to be able to cope with the stress that's being put on you? For example, like I said, we got a choice to stay or we got a choice to leave. It is your choice. So let's chat. Let's have a chat about how you can make a proper structured plan, whether you're doing a 30 or a 6-week plan or even a 2-month plan for looking at what you're going to do, so that there's some structure. And when you go into that work environment, you know that there's a better way coming for you. So then that's going to help you to cope with things, because you always want to leave a job on good terms, because they're the ones that's going to give you a reference. Seriously, if you don't leave a job on those good terms, then that can affect you getting a reference for when you're looking for the next job. For example, you don't want them to give you a bad reference, right? So you got to plan it right. Yes, of course, some of these managers are, they're harsh. I'm not going to beat around the bush, but you got to plan it right for your own sake in the long term, because your future self is the one that's going to be applying for a new position, and that manager who you're having issues with is the one that's going to be writing that reference. So please be careful, and I'm saying this from the heart, okay? You don't want to mess up your references, but let's chat so we can help calm that fire down within you, so that we can create a structured plan. I hope that you've enjoyed today's talk. This was just a talk. There's no training here, just a talk, because I feel for you. I understand. I've been there before, and my clients are going through it right now, for example. So I want to be able to help you to cope as well, because I don't want to see you upset and distressed. Okay, so I hope that you've enjoyed today's chat and it's helped you somehow. Please plan a structure, get a strategy together, get a framework together, sit down and just write things down. How you're going to feel when that person approaches you. What is it that they could possibly say? Because usually by this time, you know what they're going to come out with. How are you going to respond? Respond with positivity. But you can say, no, I'm not doing that. I've got my own work here to do. Please respect my wishes. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.